Detroit Lions get the win over the Chicago Bears, 34-17. Lions move to 13-2. And we know Lions fans love watching Check the Mic. What we don't know is why everybody's not subscribed.
Yeah.
Only a third of our viewers are actually subscribed. That's it. Just a third. And we're trying to get to 100% subscribe right here.
Look at that.
So click the button.
We really pushed the boat out in the graphics department for that one.
Wow. You weren't. Were you busy talking to Renner when we were talking before the show, and we were talking about how we were setting that up?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's the first time I've seen that. Yeah, why do we love Lions fans? Because Lions fans pay the bills.
Pay the bills. They pay the bills, man. But not the subscriber bills. They're only at 33%. We got to get up to 100%. So hit that subscribe button that was up there.
100% is
10
ambitious.
seconds ago. 100%.
This game was like, this is how the first game should have gone. Remember back in Thanksgiving, the first half, the Lions were absolutely annihilating the Bears, and then somehow didn't quite put the game away before halftime, and Chicago was able to execute a comeback, really drag themselves back into it, and then botched the clock management at the end of the game, and that's what ultimately did in for Matt Eberflus. This game was similar in that Detroit's 10-0 up. Odunze gets a catch and run, fumbles it at the end. Like, it's all Detroit early, and then Chicago just never got close enough to execute the comeback.
Yeah, just another game where you could highlight all the great playmakers from the Lions and the way they get them the ball, right? You've got Jameson Williams on the long 82-yard touchdown. What a dime from Jared Goff there. Jameson Williams finishes with a $143. I just love the games where they tap into his speed, and whether it's even just like a simple quick out where corners have to account for it, or the times they're taking the shot plays, Jameson Williams has to be accounted for. And then the fun trick play, Sam, where people are like, oh, Jared Goff stumbled. We said, no, this is by design. He stumbled. Jameer Gibbs fell over on the play action. You yoink Sam Laporta up the seam for the touchdown. Just a beautiful play, and Ben Johnson never runs out of his trick plays.
He really doesn't. I mean, he said that right earlier in the season when people are like, you breaking out all these trick plays every week. Like, you're not. He's like, there's no shortage of these, right? We've got tricks for days, and that was one. They faked like a botched exchange. They faked a botched pitch. Like Jared Goff pretends to stumble over. Jameer Gibbs launches himself to the floor as if, oh no, the live ball. And then, no, it's just a play-action fake, and they hit Laporta over the top for the big play. I mean, they do seem to have an endless volume of these trick plays, which I mean, look, they're banged up on defense. That side of the ball is in rough shape from a personnel standpoint. The offense is still cooking. If they are going to beat what they did last year in the postseason, they're probably going to need to break out a ton of these trick plays and just try and do everything they can to stay ahead of the game flow, because the defense might not be able to hang in against the best teams in the postseason.
And it's not just the tricks; it's that they could beat you with power. They could beat you with Jameer Gibbs had to handle the workload in this one. 23 carries for 109, so that's 4.7 per carry. He had a long run of 12 yards. So you don't have the explosive play from Gibbs in there, but he also had 45 yards through the air. So I think that was one of the questions too, with David Montgomery out. What happens with the from like a workflow standpoint? Gibbs handled that pretty well. They were 1 for 2 in disrespectfuls. I appreciate everybody tweeting at me when the disrespectful run shows up.
Remind people what the disrespectful run category is.
Built just for the Lions. Third down, 3 to 8 yards to go, and you just run a run play. Not a draw, no trickeration, just a straight up run play, disrespecting the defense, saying we're just going to run it right down your throat on third and medium to long. And they had a 3rd and 6. I think they got the first down. Gibbs got stopped at the goal line, and then they got in a couple plays later, and they got stopped on a 3rd and 3. So 1 for 2 on their disrespectfuls. And there's just, again, so many ways to win offensively for the Lions. Amon-Ra St. Brown had his 6 catches for 70 yards. Laporta had that touchdown. Gibbs out of the backfield, and as I mentioned, Jameson Williams. So much going for the offense of the Lions. They get up 27-7, and then Caleb Williams and the Bears, crept back into it a little bit. Touchdown before the half to Keenan Allen. And if you were just just looking at Caleb Williams and his side of the ball, some big time throws and his best game in quite a while.
Yeah, I thought he played really well, actually. I mean, he was hitting, there was a hole shot to Keenan Allen, which looked like some of the throws that we saw on those training camp videos where it's like, look at what this guy's doing in training camp. It's amazing. Like some of the throws look like that. Absolute dimes, like arm strength, velocity, precision. It was really impressive. Eric Edholm had a tweet from NFL Research. Caleb Williams has now lost 9 starts in which he threw 0 interceptions, which is now the most such losses in a single season since quarterback starts were first tracked in 1950. His interceptionless attempt streak has now reached 326, which is over 100 attempts more than the previous longest rookie streak in NFL history and over 100 longer than the previous longest Bears streak in franchise history. Essentially, they should not be losing these games where Caleb Williams is playing such a clean brand of football, and it's unusual for that to be happening.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn on what that actually means because, we care more about other stuff like turnover-worthy plays, in which he's got 7 in the last few games. He's had, so since week 6, just what I'm looking at using PFF, 5 games with no turnover-worthy plays, and then 7 across the 4 other games. So it's not like it's completely clean. And he also takes a ton of sacks, right? And so he is there. Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, those are 2 of the guys. Ryan Tannehill, a couple of the guys that skewed lower interceptions, higher sack totals through the years. So if we're going to start seeing Caleb Williams on that spectrum, Deshaun Watson did that kind of early in his career before he was just bad at everything. But no, he actually did that this year too. He was low interceptions for the Browns too. Like his turnover-worthy play rate wasn't bad. He just didn't have any positive plays. So that's going to be just interesting to watch with Caleb Williams. Is he great at taking care of the ball? I don't know if that's the case because he's taken so many negatives. And I do wonder if he should do a better job of throwing the ball away, giving up on plays, or maybe forcing plays a little bit more. And who cares if you throw a pick or 2 here and there? But I honestly think it might start, look, you're not going to beat the Lions, but might start putting the spotlight on Ryan Poles a little bit more than we had anticipated coming into the year, where the Bears started out 4-2 looking great, kind of collapsed here, and the entire roster went from, they're on the upswing to, hey, wait, what is actually left here in Chicago building around Caleb Williams?
It is a data point, though, or a stat, or a kind of, it's an outcome-based stat, right? So it's one where I don't think the turnover-worthy plays thing actually matters. It's like, I know what you're saying though. You're saying like if you're never going to have interceptions, you should win more games. Yeah.
I'm just saying it's not a full reflection of Caleb Williams being like, Mr. Safe and
no, agreed. But what it is, I think, is a reflection of the fact that Chicago is finding weird ways to lose football games that shouldn't be happening. And obviously one explanation for that is botching an end of game clock management situation, which is why Matt Eberflus isn't there any longer. But like yesterday was a really good example where, I mean, Caleb Williams actually played really well and played a clean brand of football, and they still weren't anywhere near winning this football game. Like it's sort of a reflection of what is wrong with the Chicago team, that even when he's playing like that, they're not at the races necessarily.
Yeah, that makes sense. I agree with that part here. So Lions are 13-2. The Vikings got their win later. The Eagles lost, which we'll talk about in a minute here. So Lions, if they win out, of course, it's all coming to a head with that Week 18 game.
Yeah,
2 13-2 teams in the NFC North. Both teams have to take care of business next week, and then that's I think likely the Sunday night football game, right? Probably Lions Vikings for the number 1 seed in Week 18.
That would be, I mean, that's the way to do it, I think, if that's the way it pans out. I mean, Detroit needs to go on the road against San Francisco. The 49ers are done at this point. They've got nothing to play for, but they're still dangerous. But if Minnesota has to get by Green Bay, which is the more difficult game. But if those 2 teams are still level, whether or not it's they each get a win this weekend or they each cop a loss this weekend, but if that's the game, that game where for all the marbles in the NFC and potentially the 1 seed, that should absolutely be the featured game that weekend, and what a game that would be.
Anything else on this one?
Nope. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.